Salutations and more. Salutations. Welcome to another installment of your favorite show, the Dale Ryan Report. I am Ryan Humor, and
I'm about Dale Time. What's going on, man? What is on the chopping board this week, my brother? What's going on?
Look, good brother. We got a nice charcuterie board of topics for these people today. We're gonna get into the California storm. We're going to talk about Bill Cosby's upcoming comedy tour. We're going to talk about Biden getting caught with classified documents at his house, just like his boy Trump. We're going to talk about the 49ers 10-game winning streak. And I'm going to explain to y'all the amount of pressure that Brock Purdy's under and why it's okay if he wins or loses because he already won. And lastly, about Del Tom's going to explain to y'all how one of his Scorpio brothers snubbed the Niners and ended up making Raider decisions. He not even on the Raiders yet, but he made a Raider decision. So he may end up on the Raiders now. We're going to get into all that, man. Before we do, bro, let me ask you, how was your Friday 13th, good brother? Yesterday was Friday 13th, in case you didn't know. Was it all good? Was it lucky for you? Was it bad for you? Was it neutral? Did you notice? How was it?
You know, I honestly, I'm going to be real. I think I was one of those people that did not pay attention to it being in the week. I think I was more focused on the fact that Monday is a day off and just due to Martin Luther King. So I was like, being the 13th wasn't a big deal. And I think it's more eventful. Friday the 13th is more eventful when you have to go into work. Because a lot more can happen and you experience a lot of shit. And I can imagine being working on a Friday the 13th yesterday with it raining, the storm. This is some shit where Friday the 13th time would particularly happen. So nothing eventful for my Friday the 13th. I didn't even start noticing it. If I would have, one of my rituals is to actually play that Friday the 13th with Jadakiss and Fabulous. Because that shit go hard. How was it for you?
I think, bro, like, honestly, like, I low-key believe that I'm not going to speak for the listeners at this time. However, I will, because this is just what I do. But I kind of feel like that was a flex, bro. Like, I think you just really flex really hard on the listeners. And you've been doing this for we in January, bro. You've been doing this for 2 years, flexing on our listeners, right? Like, you're going to be like, yeah, man, sorry, 3 years. You're like, yeah, man, you know, I don't really got to leave for work like that for me. Like, I'm remote, you know, so I don't really got to deal with type of shit that peasants got to deal with. I don't really rock with
commuters.
I don't got to do the commute. I don't be on the BART and those ferries, you know. I'll just be in the house with my wife and my upcoming baby, bro, with my locks, you know, like with my expensive weed and my expensive studio. You know what I mean? I don't even be knowing what day it is, dog. I don't even know what my check from. I'm just a boss. I think you kind of flex really hard on the listeners.
You see how he did to me, audience, because he just pulled how they be doing LeBron James in fucking meetings. Like literally, literally, like they'll ask LeBron, like, how was your weekend? Like, it was great. I was doing great shit, playing with my kids. Da-da-da-da. There you are. There's LeBron flexing on people without kids. Like, what? Like,
hey, nah, you're right. There was this viral tweet of this woman that said, you seen it. I really love hanging out with my husband and going inside of our garden and drinking coffee. It's just such a good time. And that's all she said. People are like, that's white privilege, drinking coffee with your husband. Like, minorities ain't got husbands. Like, people were going off. Like, bitch, who you think? White people were like, who you think you are having a garden, bitch? Like, shit. And they were going in, bro. Yo, she ain't say.
You think you are having a garden? I'll fuck your shit up. Fuck your pedals.
They were going, who you think you can drink coffee? Minorities make that coffee. Those beans are from Colombia. Colombians die for those beans. Like, bro,
damn.
You can't even just enjoy life. So now you're right. I did really just LeBron you, bro. Really did. Friday 13th was good, man. I had a show, man. I had a show yesterday. It was solid. Shout out to my oldest, closest, one of my bestest friends, White Mike from Jamestown. His birthday was yesterday.
White Mike,
13th, man. Yeah, Dale, you know him. Wells Fargo brothers, y'all kindred spirits.
That's right. That's why I threw up the W.
Yeah, man. It was cool. I had an outstanding day, honestly. It was real solid. I did some interviews for some dope candidates we're gonna hire. next week. Got a solid workout in. I did triceps and shoulders. No trap. I did traps and shoulders, and hit the stair climber. I got my hair cut.
Oh yeah, I see
I
it.
paid.
You see how you had to do the angle. You see how you had to do that was a flex. You see how you had to. You see the lineup. They devil blade me.
They may have devil blade your boy, man.
Yeah.
And then I went to DMV and paid this registration, and it was cool. It was in and out, and I had the show. It was a show at a new spot, so I got a goal obviously this year to perform at X amount of new venues. So that's like adding on to my 2023 outcomes. Show went really well. Met some people I hadn't met before. It's always dope to like be places with new comics you haven't met. It's like hooping. You go somewhere and get to hoop with different people in different places and find out where they play at. They may invite you, things like that. All in all, man, it was an outstanding day, man. It was. I know that like you don't know much about this because you don't be outside the house with us peasants, but we be outside and like stuff be happening for us outside the house. So shout out to everybody that had to be outside yesterday. I mean, shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all that was rocking like Dale too, y'all, Bill Gates and all the people that didn't have to leave the house. But for us like road warriors outside do our thing, shout out to y'all. We had an excellent day yesterday, man. So I'm just want to take time.
He flexing on people in Santa Barbara who got a kayak to go to the grocery store. That's what he's doing. He flexing on people in Santa Barbara who got a kayak to the grocery store.
Let me ask you, while you're mentioning that, man, let me ask you something, bro. So for the last 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks or so, we've had the California storm, dog. And I want to ask you, as someone that's dibbled and dabbled in different regions of California, me and you are in 2 different regions right now, technically 2 different regions, kind of. I want to ask you, is the California storm overrated or underrated?
I think it's underrated right now. I would say it's underrated. I would say it's underrated because a lot of people who deal with real storms do have this kind of like feeling of like, oh, that ain't nothing. Y'all got like lawn chairs blowing around and because a lot of people think of that because they have such high expectations of California that it's like palm trees and beaches everywhere. They forget that some of this is also like surrounded by a lot of water. So I'll be real with you. Like I've lived in California pretty much my whole life. And honestly, like I've never had to experience no flooding ever. Like as far as in my own personal home. I've never like right now, my shit flooded. Like I had to like it floods and then it goes away. So my basement floods and then it goes away. What? And I'm like, yeah, like if I were to show y'all my backyard right now, it's pretty flooded. Like there's more water than there is land. So I would say it's pretty bad. I would say it's pretty bad. I mentioned Santa Barbara having a kayak. Like those are real stories. There's a sinkhole. There's a sinkhole in Chatsworth. Nigga, a sinkhole? Nigga, this sounds like the world's ending. I'm not going to lie to you. To Californians right now, this sounds like the world ending. And the reason why I say it's bad, it's because it's like this. It's like, it's bad as in like if you had a toddler who always fall down and hurts his knee and keeps getting up, like that's the South. Like y'all stay with, disasters and shit like that. And y'all keep getting up and just, keep on trucking. You know what I'm saying? We like that infant, like that never get outside. He busts his shit like, oh my God, can't believe this is happening. And I will say this, whenever there's deaths involved, because there's also been deaths involved in this storm too, that's immediately when it becomes a big deal. So immediately when deaths are involved in any type of storm, and people have been dying, people have been getting frozen, it's been a lot of shit, bro. So I'm going to say, yeah, it's a real storm.
I think that, okay, I give you that. That's understandable. I think that some people are having some problems. You know what I mean? Like your basement is wet. I understand. The problem is we don't got cool stats, man. Our stats are overrated. We don't got good stats and we need better stats. We don't got natural disaster stats, man. You know what I mean? Like I tried to get into it, but the lady on the news was giving me stats that aren't impressive to me. So that's why other people aren't impressed by our storm. The lady on the news was like, close to 1,000 trees fell down. It's a big ass state, man. Like, you talking about redwood or chronic? Like, what difference?
Yosemite. It was
Yosemite. You know what I mean? And then we got the whole like the Santa Cruz is really wet. The waves are high, and it's like I seen the video, but nigga, like they got a boardwalk. Like use the boardwalk over it. You know what I mean? Like it's not. That's not. The beach having more water isn't a good stat. Even your sinkhole. Like I saw the picture in this. I mean, bro, like our roads are horrible. Like, have you been on 99? 99
Yes.
always okay. You've been on 99, right?
Yes.
99 doesn't have a sinkhole, but like 99 is
It's a
like
sinkhole.
a sinkhole, right? And then
Right.
you talk about the deaths, bro. You talk about the deaths, right?
Yeah.
The death toll is supposed to be that's why I made this year. The death toll is where you flex on people. Like when you get a death toll, that's when you like, yeah, nigga, we put up Steph Curry numbers 5,000 people, right? Right. Natural disasters. So when you let somebody know they got to stay in the house for your natural disaster. Do you know what our death toll is, Dale?
Like 17 or something like that.
It's 11.
Yeah, exactly. But see, I was going, and that's part of my point.
It's 11.
That's part of my point. That's all it takes. Once it gets to double digits, we'll call a serial killer if he kills more than 5 people. This is a bad storm.
I thought you was gonna go ahead and further with that. Listen, man, they got these tsunamis.
Right.
Out in like south, out in
tsunamis,
south,
nigga.
These tsunamis. That's what I said. Tsunamis. They got these tsunamis out in the islands, out in where your family's from, out in south.
Right. Fiji, Hawaii,
out there.
Yeah.
They got these tsunamis that come through and kill 500,000 people every 15 years. 500,000 people. Those are natural disasters.
But numbers. See, those listen to me. Preparation. That's like somebody being out there and they go to war. So big numbers happen in war. You expect that. Like, we always go to war every 5 years. Okay, bam. We expected to lose about 10,000 people this time. California, they not really equipped for this. So then it looks like a big deal because they're not.
Nobody expects to lose 500,000 people every 15 years still. No one's prepared to lose multiple generations of families. Like, nigga, I'm saying we lost 11 people. Nigga, homeless niggas killed 11 people yesterday. We lost homeless. We lose 11 homeless.
If it's one homeless, but see, this is one storm. So one storm killed 11 niggas. It's a serial killer storm. It's not
one storm. It's 2 weeks storm. It's like, this is a job. This
is one storm that's been going on for 2 weeks.
But the tsunami will pull up. Listen, all I'm saying is that 500,000, those are natural disaster numbers. 11, at the Apple Store, they call that shit water damage. Like, just put California in some rice and then, nigga, it'll be okay. Like, it's not, I know it's serious. Like, I know this nigga's dying and shit. I gave a homeless nigga some shoes. I gave a homeless nigga some shoes and some socks yesterday. I saw someone on those shoes and socks. I gave him some. I hear, man, take these. I don't know. It's raining really hard. I don't know what happened to the shoes. I hope he's going to be okay. And your basement is flooded. Cool. I just think our news got to do a better job of reporting the significance of the storm. You know what else makes me not take the storm seriously? When the news people, they're going to make these people wake up at 6 a.m, get dressed business casual, go outside in the storm and be like, hey, Cheryl, it's me, Nick here, just telling you that it sucks outside. Okay, back to you, Cheryl. Nigga, if it's that serious, why is he outside? Like, y'all send him out there just to take pictures. Everybody got a phone. Everybody can see outside. Why would y'all send a grown-ass outside business casual with a North Face on and a hoodie just to be like, I'm doing it for the grind? Like nah, man. So I hope everybody's going to be okay. I'm just not taking our stats seriously. The stats ain't shit.
Shouts out to one of your comedian partners, man.
Oh, my homie Wally
Hippolyto. Yes, you already know where I'm going with this. Him talking about how people were going to be looking at this storm, like people who survived El Nino, like they just be like, oh, you ain't shit. Oh, our storm, El Nino, it did it's a piece.
You're talking about El Nino and Katrina.
Hey, I do remember El Nino being terrible, though. I remember that shit being terrible. But even people be downplaying that storm. People be downplaying.
People in Miami and all that. That's what I'm saying, bro. We just, I mean, you're right, bro. People think we all palm trees. We don't really get the respect that we should when it comes to storms. Also, the thing is, Northern California is huge. Like, I'm sorry, it's not huge. Our population is dense, right? They got this map that shows there's just as many people in the Bay Area as there are in like five states in the north, in the mid northwest. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The west, mid northwest. Like we're like Wyoming, all those states that connect Wyoming, New Mexico. As many people are in all the I think Wyoming, Utah. There's 4 states. Big as shit. We got more people in the Bay Area than all 4 of those states have combined. So people see us.
Because a lot of those motherfuckers be big ass landfills. They hella big because people be living one place, and then the next door neighbor be. I'm in Vallejo. The next door neighbor be in Manteca. Like,
yeah, that's right. Like your next neighbor. That's why Kanye was out there wilding out by himself in Wisconsin and no Wyoming, and nobody cared because he was just out there doing like all his Kanye things, and he came back to the real world and started like divorcing his wife and wilding out and going like claiming to be a Nazi. Was like, why are you doing that? He's like, I was doing this in Wyoming and it was cool. It was like, bro, no one saw you. Go back over there. So now he's there with his new wife. We're not gonna get into that. Listen. wait. No, I do want to say this. Kanye stands go so hard because if you guys didn't hear, Kanye got married to a woman that looks like similarly to like Kim K, right? And like Kanye's the only man, and I gotta give him credit for this. Kanye, even dude Andrew Tate, like these dudes can do these things, and y'all will still stand for him. Like, I mean, stand like y'all not even gonna wait forever. Like, even with the Andrew Tate guy, he's been hemmed up for like sex trafficking or whatever. But his fans like, nah, this is set up. Like, y'all not even gonna read the evidence. Y'all not even gonna wait. Romania ain't just got time to just set you up for sex trafficking. Kanye is the only man on the planet that could marry a doppelganger of his wife that he divorced 4 months ago, and y'all be like, yeah, that nigga killing the game. He found a replacement. That's crazy. No, y'all wouldn't let everyone listen, wouldn't let that pass with any other man. A woman, yeah, oh, she leveled up. She wouldn't got a dude that look like dude. We see her, she still got money. Any dude that does that, are you crazy? Like if Will Smith divorced Jada Pinkett and got with another like bald, light-skinned lady that don't really nobody know, we'd be clown. We'd be on this now. Jada kicked him out. He got to go get a Goodwill Jada Pinkett. But we kind of, yeah, that's how you do it. You replace her with someone that look like her that's less important. So stupid. It's ridiculous. With that, speaking of disgraced celebrities, Dale, I have a question. Not even a question. I have a huge announcement. This is a huge announcement. Bill Cosby is planning to go on comedy. Why you laugh?
Because huge celebrity. You like all of this emphasis on who this celebrity is, and then just Bill Cosby. Like
Bill Cosby. You know, it's funny because you usually when I give a build up like that, it's like it's not someone that infamous. Like it'd be art. You know what's so well? I'm gonna say it'd be R. Kelly or OJ. Like it's how could OJ be like? How could OJ be better than that's when it comes on that's when like so much in life comes to personality, bro. Because ever since OJ got a joke, he should be like walking around happy, shaking niggas' hands, like, oh OJ, it's all good to juice. Everybody love him because he's just still happy. He's just so nice. But kind of like, hey man, you're not even a dick. You still mean to people. Like, personality's everything, bro. Personality, everything. All I'm saying is this: Bill Cosby Dale is plotting to go on tour. People are upset about it. I had a couple questions for you, man. I'm gonna challenge you right now because this challenge. In case you guys are new to the Dale Ryan Report, we try to take things from like a particular angle that may be uncommon, and that way, like we could create like new neuron pathways in your brain to create maybe a way to think about something that you didn't think about. And you can tell your friends like, damn, hey, those MFs is crazy, but you know what they said? I never thought about it from this point of view. So the question I'm about to ask about Del Time, about the Bill Cosby tour is this. About Del Time, why is this a great idea?
It's great because, no, you're right. But it is great. It is great. Because when the world looks at you, when the majority of the world has this villain perspective of you, the best way to do it is step right in front of it. Because the best thing I've ever heard is if somebody thinks you're an asshole, just own it. So If he goes out here and just owns this shit, you sell a bunch of tickets, you get a bunch of money for it. People begin to be swayed. A good way to talk about it is Jeffrey Dahmer, right? Like people are swayed by we can hear your heartfelt story no matter how bad of a killer that you really are. So if he goes up here and he gives his perspective, whether it's literally not even that, whether he doesn't even go on and even talks about anything that has to do with his case, people will feel for him if he just goes on here and tells a bunch of jail jokes. I was in jail. Shit was happening. This particular thing happened. I'm in here facing, damn near R. Kelly came into my cell. I couldn't believe the shit. You know what I mean? They had Jussie Smollett in there for a minute, but then they let his ass out. And he uses the shit and powers it. You become a legend, because the one thing that people in this particular society, in this particular time, they live for the moment time. They can forget about everything else you were tied to if it's for the moment. The only time that what you're tied to begins, your past ties that may conflict with you, hurt you, is when you make it too big or when you ain't even relevant enough and you getting rid. So those are the times that it hurts you. But right now, when you're already looked as the villain number one, you can go out here, you can address it. You can basically do a Martin run to that. And you could basically just go out here and just, they said I was out here. I mean, if he does say it, hey, man, they said I was out here dropping pills in bitches. So I went from being the Jello pop guy to now being the pill popping guy. Some shit like that, the crowd erupts. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, You make fun of it. You come right at it. You know what I'm saying? Who thought my Nash jokes would come back and hit me in court? I'm so happy that California changed the rap laws that now they can't bring your last rap laws, because eventually they was in there trying to use my comedy tapes against me. Bow. You know what I'm saying? Just hitting one after one after one. The shit becomes funny. You feel me? And people begin to love you again. Then now you're Bob Saget. You go from being Full House. I identified, to now you could be raunchy comedy. You know what I'm saying? And do what the fuck you want to do. So this is why it's great.
It's great. All right. Are you going?
No, I'm done. Oh, am I going?
No,
yes.
Gonna...
I mean, I would love to. Honestly, I'm going to be real with you. I would love to go. I think he should do the shit. The biggest show that he should televise is the one that he does in Philly. And I think Meek Mill should come out. I think Kevin Hart should come out. I think Will Smith should show up. I think he should get all the supporters that he should get from Philly to support him. Because when Meek went down for doing Meek Mill shit, niggas was supporting him. So they should all support him. They should all come out there and be Philly. Even Ben Simmons should show up. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
He's from Australia.
I know, it doesn't matter. He played in Philly and Philly hates him. So he should show up too. He should show up too, so that they could just be mutual. And Ben Simmons was there, might get him some feel back. They're gonna be like, look at this nut. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the term that they use in Philly. Like, look at this nut. Nigga's a nut.
Ben Simmons. All right, man. Okay. All right. So you think it's a great idea?
I do.
All right.
I think it's a great idea.
That's understandable. You know, one thing that I think he has going for him, it's really good. He's old.
Yeah.
Right. So, and old people similarly to I don't know what this is. It's not a toddler, but like I guess preschoolers or kids under 7, I think. We let them say anything. Like they can just say, because they don't have any tact, like they don't have filters. Well, old people, they've just been around for so long that they earned all their stripes. And then young people, they don't understand like cordial respect or whatever those things are called. And old people just say funny things. He's 85, right? So the old person's like, oh, I'm too old to be in jail. That's already funny.
Yeah.
Like, that's just funny. And the way he would just be hella decrepit. To me, based on the way like, I think that an older, seasoned Black man like Bill Cosby has processed this in his mind, is that in his mind, he's done so much for the Black community, and he paid his restitution. He paid a civil suit of $500,000, and he did, I guess, 3 to 4 years in jail. In his mind, he's done. I did that. I was literally exonerated. Like not exonerated. It was overturned. Like there was a mistrial. I'm using the laws that y'all been using against us. I'm not guilty. As much as we want to joke around about like Cosby and OJ and R. Kelly, only one of them is in jail. So that's the laws. That's because the thing is, it's like the Tory situation, right? It's like the Tory situation happened, and then like Team Ed was like, "See, told y'all he did it." Listen, if Tory got off, y'all was gonna say the same thing. He did it, and the justice system ain't right. And if Tory got off, Team Tory people would have been like, "See, told y'all he didn't do it." But Team Tory people, I'm not gonna say I'm not Team Tory. I'm not gonna say I am. Those people, wink, wink, are still like, he didn't do that shit. Free Tory. So it don't like, but all we have opinions. We have the justice system. The justice system said that he's not supposed to be in jail because the justice system are the ones that decided that they wouldn't use paperwork that they said that they would not use in the court of law after he gave his disposition for the civil suit, right. And they chose to break contract and do something that they said they weren't going to do. So the justice system essentially said he can go free. So he's free. So in his mind, nah, bro, I don't. That's old. That's old. Yeah. That's old. I ain't even do none of that. And then once he go out there and be like, yo, it's been a long couple years. People can't wait, man. And the coldest part is because he's such a legend, right? It's not like Louis C.K., where Louis C.K. is a GOAT. Like Louis C.K., he's in my top 5 easily. He might be my favorite writer. And he's not popular enough to like take that rest and then just come back without doing no touring. Louis C.K. had to go to other countries and work on his stuff and like hang out in Amsterdam and go to Germany and go do like these random spots before he could come out with his special. Like he had to do all that. Bill Cosby is such a legend that once you say his name, it's like, oh wait, he really gonna come out? I kind of want to go pull up and just see what the old nigga got to say. Like, because it's comedy. It's not, bro. Even if they release R. Kelly right now, he had a concert. It's a bunch of people that would be like, I'm gonna go because I'm an R. Kelly fan. Like, let's just go see and make fun of this old nigga. People ain't gonna go. We'll see what he got to say. He's a singer, but Bill Cosby, he's either gonna tell old jokes or he's gonna have to mention something that happened the last 20 years. Yeah, I see my great grandkids in a while. He gonna have to. So, exactly. I mean, why is this a great idea? I think it's a great idea because it will put on display how much we all value our entertainment. Because a lot of us have this recreational outrage until someone wants to affect our entertainment. Now, another thing, and the interesting thing is that when it comes to Damar Hamlin, who was released from the hospital the other day, we was like, everybody, whoa, we understand, got to stop the game, so on and so forth. Woo, everybody was super supportive. What if they was like, yo, you know what? We just gonna stop football for the whole weekend. We just gonna shut it down. There would have been rioting in the streets if they was gonna stop football for the rest of the week. The situation happened Monday night. If they was like, yo, we're not gonna have a Sunday, we're gonna take the rest of the week off. People would be like, yo, hold up. No, we gotta do more research and find out why this happened because it's a regular tackle. We don't know what happened. We gotta do more. No, that's not. Nah, like it's the left. People would be pissed. So I think having Cosby go on tour would show us how much we value our entertainment over like our alleged morals. There's also this thing as well. Jerry Seinfeld got caught. He didn't get caught up. He was on the Colbert Report, not Colbert Report. I'm sorry, not that show. He was on Colbert's late night show. This was a while ago. He was asking about like who his favorite comedians are. I was like, man, Cosby, man. And then Colbert was like, oh, you can still listen to that after everything that happened. Like Jerry Seinfeld's like, yeah, man, that's not the same. Like this is Colbert's like, no, I think it's the same, Yeah,
I heard that.
And then went to commercial break, and then Jerry had to be like, it's the same. It's the same. Because as much as we'll say, as like the culture, as much as we'll say that they let the ops get away with anything, they won't. They won't. Like the more period. There's small levels to this, but the more money you have, the more responsible you got to be with your words. Honestly, I know we don't think that because like Kanye's the only nigga to ever lose everything.
But you also got to think Bill Cosby is alleged for dropping these pills on white women. So of course, yeah, white men like white men now have to protect that white sister. So
let me. I'm sorry. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you.
It's wrong.
Let me tell you an unknown fact, an unknown situation. When you watch this, we have to talk about Bill Cosby documentary by W. Kamau Bell. They do a great job of talking about his background and then making it seem like and then interviewing all the white women, and then in the documentary you're like, this is only white women. Then they start talking about the black chicks. Mm-hmm. Like 25% of them are black, though. Okay, it's not all white women. But I'm right. Saying, yeah, right. Yeah. So I think that's one of like the things that I guess the media was really great at. People that are like rocking with Cosby was really great at like not having all that information. Cause I thought that too. Like, why is only these white chicks is doing this? But he's also someone that only like really rocks with white women at a certain point in his life. But when they start interviewing these other chicks that were like going to the Cosby Show and like people that were guest starring, people that were supposed to get roles and actresses that were supposed to, he was like Weinstein a lot of chicks. Like, hey, I'll let. But when it came to a lot of the white women, they were like people that were like at the Playboy Club that were like on their way to being famous. And like when it came to like towards the end, it was like when he was on the show, it was like black women and white women that were like being told, I thought I was gonna hang out with him and then he's gonna go over some lines. And then Weinstein, like, I'll put you in a movie, and then they'll never get in a movie. So it's not on the ratios as you suspected are a little bit off. Okay. You know what I mean? So that's why I think that regardless of what color it is, compared to your point earlier, it's about I'll say quote unquote death toll. The toll, mm-hmm. the death toll so high, the numbers almost don't matter, right? This isn't one woman saying Emmett Till did something. This is like 80. This is 41 women, 29 of them are white. Yeah. 12 of them are black. You know what I mean? So I'm a point being, if Jerry Seinfeld could still hop on the show and be like, nah, that's different. If Jerry Seinfeld off the rip, like one on the Tonight Show, being Jerry, like respectfully, like just being Jerry, he just suit on, oh no, that's different. I don't count that as that. Like that's different. He usually don't even. Oh yeah, he does wear his tie. I was gonna say. Yeah, he always just he's like, yeah, that's different. This simple as that. So if Jerry Seinfeld's like, that's different, off the rip, then people will pull up. And he said it without even thinking that it was gonna be a big deal. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that means that Jerry Seinfeld to pull up, he won't tell nobody he gonna pull up. Meek Mill may pull up. I don't really know why Meek Mill pull up because Bill Cosby don't really rock with the Bill Cosby don't rock with the culture like that no more. But I'm just saying, no, you know how it's funny enough because I think about this. It's a Boondocks episode where Martin Luther King, instead of dying, he went into a coma. Right. And he comes back. Yeah. And they like trying to throw like a Democratic Party to like get people to invite him, right? But then he ended up reaching out to BET to have him do it. And they ended up making it into like this like event, like, yo, come see Martin Luther King, he gonna speak. And so we had to go in here. But I don't know why. That's why it made me think of Meek Mill coming though, like just on some hood shit, like Bill Cosby here trying to come here and tell some comedy, and Meek Mill just show up, hella dirt bikes and shit, just ride it up, like, yeah, we for Philly, son. Yeah, it's Philly. We go nut out here. We out here with the GOAT, Bill Cosby. He just in the trenches. He just in the trenches. ARB show up like, yeah, that's the only one. Like ARB. They gonna let AR Ab out because Cosby performing. AR Ab is doing 111 years. They rep. Philly go crazy. We stay not snitching. He held it down, B. That would be wild, bro. If like Bill Cosby did, if he teamed up with goons, like, hey, if he's like free AR Ab. I was in there like, bro, man, I know how I feel, man. These brothers don't know. They didn't have no pudding pops. And I was mad. Damn, no pudding pops. Wow. Man. Yeah, I'm looking for I'm looking forward to it. This is for those of you guys that are concerned about this. This is he doesn't have tour dates yet. He's working on a tour. I think it's one of those. I think this is one of those situations where you're really popping. You're especially popping. I'm sorry, not especially popping. You have a lot of power, and you have your people, your non-yes men, which people need, that are like, yo, bro, this isn't a good idea. We could just chill. Let's just go count money under a palm tree. Like, but you have so much power. You're like, nah, I think I should do this. Like on some Elon shit, like you ain't really got to buy Twitter, bro. Like Tesla losing money. We're not even making no bread like year over year. We're non-profitable. But I want to buy Twitter though. But like you ain't really gotta do that though. Like we could just not do it. Like we could not do the Twitter thing.
We could create our own shit, bro, if you really want to. But nah.
We could start really small, like 100 developers, but that would love to work for you. Like we could make our own. Like people would do it because people that buy stock, they rock with you. Nah, I'm gonna buy Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think happened with Cosby, because he gonna sell the tickets. Like Elon making money, he's selling they're selling a verification badge for $8. People are buying it to be verified, $8 a month. They're making bread, you know what I mean? But it's one of those things where you got so much money that you have so much money and power that like in your board, and like that's just what you do. It's kind of weird. And he owes, so he ain't got nothing else to do. It's different when you old and you a president. Like if you old and you're president, you have like a job to do. I think once these presidents get done, they're like, I don't ever want to do it again, no matter what. But if you an old comedian, that's what you've been doing for years and years and years and years. I want to ask you this, Dale. I'm gonna talk about these presidents in a second and this president situation that we got. I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you find it interesting that we can openly fathom an 85-year-old Bill Cosby going on tour? Like we can fathom it, right? Where like we can see this happening and it kind of makes sense. We don't see him doing like a lot of dates. We see him probably doing maybe like seven. I was gonna say seven to 12 dates. One show every 2 months, or maybe 2 shows a month, like local.
I was gonna say big cities, big shows, just get them out the way.
Fine. I guess what I meant by like what I meant by like bigger, small like venues like Fox Theater in Oakland.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay, got you. Then because he's old, but at the same time, we're quick. I'm not gonna say we. I'm not even gonna say y'all. I'm gonna say y'all out there. We're quick to be like 80-year-old for president for 4 years? Absolutely. Absolute. Duh. We can fathom Cosby doing maybe close to a year, half a year, 7 to 12 days because he's old, right? But when it comes to president, absolutely. For those of y'all that didn't hear, I know we have a lot of people that I don't even know. It's hard for me to say this. I don't know if like me and you have changed like hearts and minds throughout like the 3 years we've been doing this, but I don't really know where people lean anymore because our shit be all over the place. But this is gonna piss some people off, and maybe you know what? It may piss your wife off. I'm gonna say it. Maybe it may piss your wife off. But I understand that a lot of people on the left was feeling like, yo, Trump had these documents at his house. Like, what's he doing with these documents? Espionage, spying. It's crazy. Russians, war. Why he got these documents, right? So early last week, Biden was found with documents at his house too, in his garage next to his Corvette. And like the outrage isn't the same. But I want to make something very clear before I get into this. I've been saying this, though. You can co-sign with me. I've been saying this. I think you've been saying it too. We were trying to prosecute Trump we're trying to do all these things with Trump with these documents or whatever. Even while he was in the office trying to impeach him, nothing happens, like all this stuff. And now the right, the GOP Grand Old Party wants to go after Biden and Biden's son because of documents and Hunter's laptop and all this stuff. And I've been saying this, bro, like the thing that black folks say to other black folks and should be happening in the street, like, hey man, keep that in the house. Like it looked raggedy. We only 15% of the population. Like, can we keep it in the house? And sometimes it leaks out. This suing our presidents and putting them on trial and one party trying to put them in under the jail. Stop. It's raggedy. It's raggedy, bro. All that stuff, y'all. All the shit they're trying to do to Trump, like during his term, bro. Wait till after. It's raggedy. Now y'all gonna try to say this other president stuff. I know that he did it and it's whack, but it's all whack. It's all whack. Now, Dale, I want to ask you this: why is this blatantly different? Why is this? Is this because Biden is a nice guy and it's like an OJ situation where because he's smiling, his head bobbling, and he don't mean no harm? I don't know how OJ can't mean any harm. And he don't mean no harm that we let him just do anything? Or is it a right-left thing?
It's a right-left thing. It's a right-left thing. And it's because, man, a lot of times the left will want to feel as though there's no wrong there, that everything's good intended, everybody's has no mischievous mind or anything like that. They don't seem to be out for evil and things like that. And the right is actually the more cynical one or things like that. They're like whatever they're doing. They all, even when you see in any type of depiction of like our actual system, they will always show you the right is dark. They will always show you like they're the ones who probably do the Illuminati shit. You know what I'm saying? Like to get in, like it always shows you that. So I feel like it's always this balance of good and evil. It's the same thing with Kanye. A lot of times it's the same thing with Kanye as well as Andrew Tate. No, I'm not going to say, no, it's not. It's not for Biden. It's the same as for Trump. Trump, Andrew Tate, and Kanye all have this certain kind of like
dragon energy.
Yeah, they got this energy that it's like they're good salesmen. They're good salesmen. They're good salesmen at making you believe whatever they're selling you is true. So because of that, the left kind of perspective is that's evil because you're too good at this salesmanship. When you're too good at selling shit and you're too good at making people believe shit, it will immediately be looked at as this person has some kind of other influence. You feel me? So, and especially when you're too 10 toes on the shit that you say, right? When you're 10 toes down. So for Biden, we look at Biden like, even though these two guys are the same age, you still look at Biden like this elderly old man who could do no wrong. You're still looking at him in that kind of way. You know what I'm saying? You're not looking at him like a politician. You're looking at him like this is a grandfather. This is somebody. He get on there. It's okay for him to fuck up. You know what I'm saying? He falling off bikes and shit. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like
do no harm. He can't do any harm.
He can't do no harm. Okay. So that's the reason why it's the same, to be honest with you. Him having any kind of documentation, it's the same. If this was a work event and it was the same thing, it's like, hey, you took work home unauthorized and we said, don't take no work home unauthorized. You took it home because you in your mind, you mistakenly did it, but you was going to bring it back right back. And you left it by the Ferrari to remind you to bring it back, right? The same person, Brian, he took the home, but he wanted to be evil with his shit, right? Y'all both should get fired because y'all both broke the particular the regulation that was set by the laws of your work. Unfortunately, you wasn't supposed to take nothing home. The whole thing is the security and protection of the files. So if you're misleading the files, then Biden, you should be fired for not having attention to detail. Yes. Trump should be fired if he was misusing the information. You both should be fired. Because why are you taking information away from the White House that you don't need to take home? And you leave it. And you should be fired in general just for leaving the shit by your Ferrari in the first place. You just leave it like anything, go pick it up. Like, I need to be leaving shit here. I'm gonna take the shit. And then obviously with your memory as you might not remember the shit. So now the shit gone. So that's why it should be. But people aren't looking at it as
shit gone.
Now the shit gone. And now you're like, I don't even know. I didn't have it. Like last time we saw it, like we gave you were supposed to sign. Oh, and then he remembered that he left about a Ferrari, but now he going there looking for the Ferrari, by the Ferrari and ain't over there. So, and now the security he done fired 2 weeks ago gone. Now he worked for another nigga. Or he worked for Hunter. And Hunter and him running plan. And now, Russia. I don't know. But
the Russia. No, I mean, I think no. That's I know you're right. It is a right or left thing. It's a right or left thing. I don't know, man. I think hopefully Mrs. Montague don't listen to this episode because she's gonna be hot.
I don't know.
The left can't do no wrong. The left is always right.
They always right. Right, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's no, you're right. It's a he can do no harm thing, which is interesting because that's how it is in the workplace too. If the guy that can do no harm does something by accident, it's like, oh, Scotty didn't mean that. But if it's like the asshole, if like Rich does, like, we knew Rich always breaking all the rules. He's always breaking all this. We got to get rid of Rich. We got to break up. But what about Scott? Scott's too dumb to do it. Scott's too dumb to do any of that. But if he's too dumb, then why is he president? Don't worry about it. So
SNL did a great skit where it was like some workplace sexual harassment, right? They had Keenan in there, right? Keenan was like the old black dude who's a security guard. And then they had the top executive, right? And then basically like the tech executive was saying like he was saying like some sexually explicit shit, but it wasn't like bad. But like the fucking security guard was old. So he said wild shit like, oh, I just want to take you to the back and just, give you a couple of pounds to the back and stuff like that. And then, oh, you so crazy, Charles. You so crazy.
Exactly.
And then the guy was like, wait, isn't that sexual harassment? No, it's not sexual harassment. No, I mean, it's just Charles. Charles, he always says stuff like that. It turns out like, well, we're firing Charles because we found out that he has a van and he's been stealing vans and molesting women. Somehow out of the world. It's like, oh, wow. Charles was,
right. I think that may be the trend, man. Just we let old people say anything. Like, he's harmless. But because it's weird because Trump is like sharper. It's like you said, when you 10 toes down, we're gonna call it 11 toes down. That's what we'll call it. When you 11 toes down on some shit, like 11, like no backing off, this how I move. People were like, you know what, this is fun to listen to, but now I vehemently disagree if you're not gonna apologize for anything. Versus Biden's like, cauliflower. Like what? So but I'm not gonna go into it, man. But this is what happens when you be like anybody but Trump. This is what happens, team. This is what happens when you say anybody but Trump. But Niner fans were saying anybody but Jimmy for a really long time. We were saying anybody but Jimmy, anybody but Jimmy. We got Trey in there, didn't work out. Got Jimmy back, and of course, Jimmy got hurt while he was combing his hair, right? So we got the infamous, alleged Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, starting his first ever playoff game today. While the Niners are on a 10-game winning streak. Man, listen, by the time y'all hear this episode, some of you guys may hear it on the way to the game. It's at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time today. Some of you guys may hear it on the way to the game. Some of y'all may hear it after the game. I'm thinking we gonna win. However, if something were to happen whereas we didn't win because Hayden, I'm gonna let you guys know something. Brock Purdy is in an elite class of people if he were to win this game. Because the odds are real high. The odds are real high, man. They're against him, if you will. Then I'm gonna let you know this. Throughout the NFL's history, only 6 rookie quarterbacks have ever won their first playoff game. Only 6 have ever won technically it's 8, but Pat Hayden and Dietrich Brock, they played in other leagues before coming to the NFL. They played CFL and like other leagues. We only have 6 like real rookies that started and won their first ever playoff game. And that's
Mahomes won. Okay, I'm sorry. No, you're gonna say the list. Go ahead.
Their first ever playoff game. Sean King, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ben Roethlisberger,
I knew
Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe Flacco, Baltimore Ravens. Mark Sanchez, New York Jets. TJ Yates, Houston Texans. Russell Wilson, Seattle Seahawks. it was not Patrick Mahomes did not win his first playoff game as a rookie.
Lamar Jackson.
No.
Oh.
No, these people they did not win their first ever playoff game as a rookie. They did not. They did not. The last time it happened was 2012. Russell Wilson, the Seahawks. That's the last time a rookie won their first ever playoff game.
That is a very elite class.
Elite class.
It is. However, I thought Mark Sanchez was going to be a lot better. So I hope some of those guys, I felt like because of that star right off the back of winning that first playoff game, you had a lot of high hopes and they didn't really pan out. So I'm hoping that's not what happens here. So let's knock on wood for that. But Brock is a great fucking addition. And this is where I always tell you hard work beats talent. Tell me more. When you are considered, the last pick of the draft, when you are the third option on your team and you come off and you put the team on your back and you really, really go hard and make sure that, you know what I'm saying, you completing touchdowns. You're using your star potential tight end, Kittle, to get a lot of this done. Not only that, you got some of the best runnings, the best running team now with Debo being back behind you. You are starting to look really, really like starter material. Like I said, so this is where hard work beats talent, because we had a lot of talent players. You had Jimmy Garoppolo coming off of backing one of the greatest quarterbacks, actually the greatest quarterback to ever touch the field, Tom Brady. And then you coming in after an all-star rookie within Trey Lance coming off, and he ends up getting injured. And now we're looking hopeless. The only thing we have to depend on is our defense. But you sit over there and you strap your helmet in. You don't try to get any more fancy than what you're doing. You ain't coming into the games more dressed up. You actually coming in more mediocre as fuck. I mean, I've seen this man wearing what's the shit that the tech niggas wear? Palagarian. That nigga, Patagonia. That nigga was wearing a Patagonia. You don't see niggas wearing no Patagonias when they come in through the tunnel. This nigga wearing a Patagonia with a regular backpack. He looked like a regular tech nigga. He looked like a tech nigga. He looked like he should be working in San Francisco, not playing on the San Francisco 49ers. This nigga is raw. So I appreciate him. I know that a lot of this is standing 10 toes down with our defense, though, because let's not forget that our defense is fucking holding it down. They are doing what the fuck they're supposed to do. They are looking like a number one all-star defense right now. So I will say this. If he doesn't win this game, which I highly doubt, even for the fact that we here right now, he already won. He already won. Keep this talent, young man. Because if the Niners don't keep you, believe me, you are being watched. There are a lot of teams right now who are looking for a quarterback that I obviously see too, who's willing to learn. Because I've seen certain things that he's doing on the field. It looks like, I would say, even Trey may even be giving him some little pointers on the field too. Because there are some things I see, I'm like, okay, Trey might have told him, hey bro, when they come in at you, maybe duck that shoulder a little bit, wiggle out of that bitch. You feel me? And get up out of there. Because Trey got a little nice footwear, and some earlier things that I've seen Brock doing, he wasn't doing, but now he's on that shit. And I'm like, oh, he looking nice. So I say that because I did say this earlier. I said this earlier earlier this week or last weekend. I'm sorry. To my family. They had asked me, I was like, what do you think about Brock Purdy? And I said, he's great. I was like, but let's not get excited like Trey Lance can't come back. And they were like, well, you think Niners gonna keep him? I was like, hey, a lot of times I've seen this happen with the Warriors. We had Monte Ellis and we was ready to ride Monte because Monte was looking so good, but we ended up trading Monte, and Monte ended up, kind of like fading out of the NBA eventually. Well, we kept Curry, and Curry ended up becoming the greatest player. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that Trey Lance can't do that. And I'm not saying that Brock Purdy can't be Steph Curry either. But I'm just saying, Trey Lance could be good too. So, it might be a possibility the Niners might make a Niner mistake and just be like, let's get rid of one of these niggas. And we get rid of one of these niggas, and these niggas go off and be great. And I don't know which one it's going to be. Because that's kind of like more the shaking up on me about this as much as I might say, is that I don't know if we're going to end up keeping him as good as he's doing. So he damn near might have to win just to be kept. So they could be, so then they could be like, see? Because they might still in their mind be thinking, this is still the defense doing really great. And Debo out there, we got McCaffrey now. We got all these pieces. Like now, like we just put that quarterback that we thought was going to do great. We could just put him in because he got hurt. And then they put him in, and then we ended up fucking up. Or you don't put him in and you trade him somewhere and he ends up being great. So I'm kind of scared on that end because I don't know what's going to happen on that way.
I mean, I think that what you do is you just ride the hot hand, basically. Yeah. I mean, we did that. Let me make sure this is correct.
Alex Smith and Kaepernick.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, yeah, we did that for Alex Smith and Cap because Cap was our hand, and the only reason why our whole like organization fell apart was because of bad timing of Jim Harbaugh and not getting along with the Yorks and the NFL not liking that Kaepernick wanted to not send up for the national anthem. Like we had a lot happening within that same time. But if John Harbaugh wasn't beefing with like the Yorks and the Kaepernick thing didn't happen, like we would still be raw because everyone once it was on that like Harbaugh was going to be dipping out or going to have to leave, we have niggas just up and retiring left and right. So I think in this situation, I do think you ride the high hand, and even if like for example, the Eagles, I had to double check the Eagles. Nick Foles beat Tom Brady in them, and Nick Foles was the backup for Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz was like the creme de la creme. Yeah, the creme de la creme star, if you will. And Nick Foles was just the backup. He came in and won the whole Super Bowl, right? And now fast forward, I don't know, several years later, me, you, and B are at the Commanders-Niners game watching Carson Wentz come in as a backup.
Right.
He was supposed to be the starter. So sometimes it just works out like that. I'm not going to say like this was like Tom Brady like passing the torch to Purdy, but it's kind of ill how the Buccaneers like come to Santa Clara with Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's like near one of the like a late pick in the draft. He in the Bay, his home, as he calls it, and he hands the torch to like another like Mr. Irrelevant. Like who knows, like that maybe that could be what we're seeing. But I think it's ill that they rocked with him. I mean, we don't really have a choice because I mean no, we do have a choice because Trey Lance should be healthy by now. No, he had a season-ending injury. We have no quarterbacks, right? Got it. So Cooper Rush came in when Dak Prescott got hurt, and then once Dak was ready, they put Dak back in, and Dak ain't looking as sexy as they thought he would look when he got back. Yeah. Purdy out here balling. Regardless of if we win or not today, I think we should just rock with him and see what happens because the draft isn't always right. Like I mean, we pick over 100 players over the course of 3+ days. Like nobody know what they're doing. Like so, I mean, if that's the hot hand, then we should just keep riding the hot hand. Especially like you said, though, he does have a little bit. I don't know where I don't have enough like football IQ to say like where he's getting a lot of his style from. But the way he's balling is just really impressive because he's doing things that are like out of the box that I feel like are things that are just in your toolbox that you can't really teach. There's certain things when you watch people play and they're like overly fundamental versus being able to do things that are like off cuff. And both of those players can be great. Like I think if you watch Peyton Manning play, Tom Brady play, you watch those dudes play, they're overly fundamental and they're outstanding. You watch a younger Aaron Rodgers play and Mahomes play, they do things where it's like, how do you teach how to do that?
Yeah.
I'm not saying Purdy's in any of those classes yet, but the way he like did a spin, like threw the ball across his shoulder once, I was like, you can't necessarily like teach that. That doesn't really like an accident to me.
Yeah, so that happened at the Commanders game. You talking about that play?
So just seeing something like that like excited me. It's like the old, how do you say, I don't want to compare it to Johnny Manziel, but there's things Johnny was doing that was like, oh, that's impressive because that doesn't look like something you saw before. Or even when McNabb first came to the league, like, oh my God, like why is that dude moving like that? Just certain things like that. Not putting Purdy in any of those classes, but when you see someone when you see someone like step outside of the quarterback prototype and doing things the way they're supposed to do things, you're like, oh, I find this very entertaining. So at this time, I do find it very entertaining. When I listed this list to you, you didn't find it very impressive at first. However, I actually think that this list is an interesting class of people to be in, because when you talk about, I don't have a lot to say about Sean King. I don't have a lot to say about TJ Yates. I don't have a lot to say about Mark Sanchez. I don't want to necessarily say that Mark Sanchez was overrated. I mean, he did go to USC. He was picked by the Jets under an immense amount of like New York pressure or whatever. The defense was dope, but I mean, they're the Jets, right? Now, the other three people on that list, Dale, are Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, and Russell Wilson.
No, I meant that's what I said. Those are impressive. Those are impressive people to be around.
So I would say I want to say like it's a good class.
It's a good class.
And if this game is won, and of course, there's a massively longer list of rookies that didn't win their first playoff games who are probably dope, right?
Right.
But I mean, this is the class that he's in if he wins, and I think we got our work cut out for us. And there's the thing. He's dope because there's this, right? Whenever a player comes out the gate and they start balling or whatever, then you get a tape. You get a tape after their first game. And then after that tape's out, people know a little bit more about you. And you get more and more about people like the following year too. Like, who knows when they get Purdy's tape next year? Who knows how defense is going to react? But this is what happens. But I like the turnaround because the Raiders, they decided to go ahead and bench Carr and start their backup quarterback on New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a balling. We ain't got no tape on him. He was a balling against our defense. He was balling. We ain't got no tape. And the next game against the Chiefs, they got dog walked by 30 because the tape is out. But Purdy, I mean, the Chiefs are also good. But Purdy, he's surviving. The boy balling. And this is what happens when you decide to be a Niner. We ball.
Yep.
We have a very especially unfortunate, humorous, and strange story about Dale's Scorpio brother, spirit animal. I'm not gonna say spirit animal. I'm gonna say spirit
animal.
I'm gonna say spirit African. His spirit African.
Yeah.
The world famous Odell Beckham, the champion. Who was the champion, NFL champion Odell Beckham, who was supposed to be a Niner, but decided, no, I want to go play with winners. Yep. And now he's making Raider decisions.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to let you go ahead and tell the people about what happened to your mans. Literally, for the first time ever, I really mean your mans when I say your man.
He my man. I ain't gonna lie, I fuck with Odell. Odell, November 5th, baby, we out here. But, man, crazy events. So back on around New Year's weekend, Odell was on a plane, American Airlines, where he was flying first class after having a long night out in Miami. And unfortunately, a stewardess tried to, interact with him. I guess she wanted him to buckle up his seatbelt, and he seemed unresponsive. You might have heard about something like this in the news. We're just a brief little story about Odell Beckham being on a plane and being unresponsive. Well, footage had finally made the surface, and now the internet has been able to explore what really happened. And we see in that video that this stewardess is really, really pushing to get Odell Beckham Jr. off of this plane. There were some comments that he didn't have no pants on. There were some comments that he was belligerent. But when you see the video, and you see how calm and respectful he was, not only to the stewardess, but we don't really necessarily see the interaction between him and the stewardess, but we do get to see the body cam from the police officers from Miami-Dade. And he looks like a person that's just being on a plane after a long night. We've all done it. We've all got on a plane and immediately got to our seat after being a long time in the airport, trying to go through everything that you got to go through within the airport to finally get to your seat and just unwind, relax, And imagine being in first class if you've never been there. I've been on business class. I will be honest and say I've never flown first class. However, when I walk by the seats, I see how spacious it is. I see how people live up there. It looks like people make it a fucking studio apartment the way they be up in there living. So they be comfortable. I'll be seeing babies on the ground with toys. It be looking crazy, right? I'll be like, damn, this is real. This shit look cool. So I can imagine him, a pro athlete, coming down, unwinding a long night in a club. You sit down and you stretch out, and then you got this annoying ass stewardess coming in and being like, "Hey, you need to put your seatbelt on," you know, getting at you, and then then they tell you that you're unresponsive. But then when you get up, you could tell that you're totally responsive, and then even the police are ready to walk away. But the stewardess goes out of her way to say, but he did this and he did that. So now they got to come back, force Odell Beckham off of the plane because now it's being said that the captain as well as the flight crew no longer wanted him to be on the plane. What I will say and what I did like about this, and some of you might not like this if you happen to be on that flight, but I would say I would do the same exact shit because I'm petty as fuck. If I found out that you're basically wrongfully making me get off of a plane when I got places to be and things to do, I don't care about what combinations you're going to give me. Everybody else on this bitch is going to go through that same shit. You're not going to sit here and harass me. I'm going to fuck up everybody's day. And that's what Odell Beckham Jr. did, because some people were getting mad at him like, bro, just get off the plane. You can hear some people go. And then the one thing I love about this is he told that dude, he said, you know what? I would have got off the plane, but now I'm not getting off. I'm going to make sure everybody get off. And I'm going to fuck up your day too. He didn't say those words, but he damn near said, I'm going to fuck up your day. I'm definitely not getting, because this is what he says, I'm definitely not getting off for your ass. I'm definitely not getting off for you. For you, I'm definitely not making your day good easier. Because dude was just talking hella shit. He ends up getting off. Of course, everybody else, they have to escort everybody else before they escort Odell Beckham Jr. off, and he eventually gets off. I say all of that, long story. Check out the line if you want to. Please do. If you haven't seen the storyline, check it out. I know a lot of you guys wait to hear your news from us, but please go check this out if you haven't heard of it yet, so you can see the full the full context of the story. I'll also have the link to the story in the bottom of the video, but make sure you go check it out on yourself. I say that because now I know that you kind of caught up, Ryan, and someone who has actually flown first class, someone who is, on to stardom as in a lot of ways as well. How would you have reacted if you was Odell Beckham?
I've flown first class. I've flown first class a couple times, and the thing is about flying. When you fly first class, it's still commercial. Like it's not private, right?
Right.
The thing is, like when it comes to me on the airport, and when it comes to me on the airplane, for a really long time, they wanted to make sure that your phone was off, right? And now it doesn't really matter. They don't really trip off that no more. They don't really mind. So my biggest thing was like, as you mentioned earlier, people have had long nights, you take long flights, and you're ready to go, right? So when it comes to traveling, for me, I just know for them to not bother me, and for me to have no problems at all, I get to whenever I fly to the airport 2 hours early, always, no matter what. I leave my house 2 hours early, like regardless, I get there, I leave my house 2 hours early. And when I sit down, I put my seatbelt on because I don't want them talking to me, especially when I'm tired. I don't want. This happened a lot. This happened a lot during COVID flight times. People would walk around like, "Hey, put your mask on. Put your mask on. Put your mask on." I would test them. I would take it off a little bit. Hey, put your mask on. I don't want them to talk. So even when you're in first class, like until you take off, like once you take off, you can recline your seat, you could live your life, but they want you to have seatbelt on. Now, when I watched the video, I saw the flight attendant say, "We've had to ask him multiple times to put his seatbelt on." And the problem is, like, this isn't necessarily, I don't want to say this is a terrorist thing, but they've given flight attendants and the pilot the ability to say, "We don't want you on our plane," regardless. Like, if you're too drunk to get on a plane, they don't breathalyze you. They just make a decision. Yeah. I've had a plane attendant, one of our listeners, he got kicked off a plane for rapping too loud, plastered. When I was in Vegas in 2021, me and my homies were on our way back from where we had like not a layover, but we drove to Lake Havasu from Vegas, and then for like a bachelor party, then drove back, and we're about to fly out of Vegas or whatever, and then we're all walking up to the flight, and then the flight attendant was like, "He's not getting on." Just one dude that we was with, he's not, and he didn't look plastered, but like he was on, was like he's not getting on. It was that simple. Like they can just it's undiscriminatory. It's almost as easy. Dale, it's like when police be like, "I'm in fear of my life." It's like that. It's the same shit. When they're like, I don't like it. I don't like the cut of his jib. And they could just do that, right? So when it comes to this situation, I'm not surprised by watching the video. I don't know if this was a situation where it could have been handled a little bit differently. Not even on some celebrity stuff. It's like, sir, you put on your seatbelt because we can't. I don't know if he was unresponsive where it's like, sir, excuse me. Because I've done that with me. I've been knocked out. You put your mask on, or hey, could you turn your phone off? All right, I'm good, my bad. Or was like, hey, it's Thanksgiving weekend. I don't want to be at work. I don't know who you are. Wake up, put your damn seatbelt on. I'm not tired of asking you. And then someone's response is like, why are you talking to me like that? You know what I mean? Like there's different ways to handle like customer service situations. However, when certain people are given authority, they tend to treat other people like they're less than. Like instead of walking up to someone and thinking in your mind, once this person puts on their seatbelt, I can move on to like my next task. Instead of approaching something like that, it's like this person's disrespecting me while I'm working on Thanksgiving weekend by not wearing their seatbelt. I'm gonna show them who's in charge. And there's no beginning of the video prior to the body cam footage. So I don't know how the original conversation went. I can see by the way he's sitting there just chilling, and the way the police are talking to him, I can see him just being like a calm black man is just supposed to be in that situation. But I don't know like what happened prior, because he seems like the type as well. We find from SFO to Miami. From Miami to LAX, like, and you've been partying all night, like, would you really want more problems? Like, I feel like if you first flying to Miami, American Airlines, did he book this like last minute? So he may feel like this some peasant shit. I don't gotta follow in these rules. I'm Odell because he booked it last minute, and then he's 5'10", 185 pounds. He don't look like nobody that isn't from Miami or LA. Like, doesn't look that significantly special, if you will. Right. So I think I don't have enough information to know like which one of them went about this wrong. Could just be a mixture of like just the wrong storm, just the perfectly timed storm. Like that's just how it worked itself out. And I don't know this. All I know is that if he was on the Niners, this wouldn't have happened. Because if he was on the Niners, he could have flown private and just been on the G5 on his way out here. But I think the wild thing to me is I appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate you openly being petty about it. I do think that I think it's whack the way he did that. But I also think that because there's a lot of reasons people don't like Odell Beckham, and people can't really put their finger on it. They just say things. Right? And I've always been one of the ones. Okay, like he gets a little emotional, like while he's playing or whatever. Like he doesn't like DBs like being overly aggressive with him. I get it. He's a receiver. He didn't like Peyton Manning not being able to throw the ball. Like he didn't like Baker Mayfield not being able to get the ball. I get it. Like I understand all that stuff. But people can't really say things that make him upset other than the fact that he's just really good at stuff. Like he can dance, dye his hair, start the whole style that a bunch of kids wanted to do. I can only see why people just dislike him because he's popular. I say that to say what he did, being like, I'm not going to get off until everybody get off. I think that's whack because of how he did it. It would be because he's like, we got to deplane everybody to get you off. And if you're going to do that, the police are going to do that because to like grab you and take you off the plane, they're going to make sure that no one else gets hurt while they put hands on you.
Right.
But you did all that and you just got off once everyone else got off.
Yeah, that's why even more petty.
You didn't even make them put hands on you. Like
that's why it's even more petty because if you would have gave them, listen to me, if you would have gave them the ability to even see him get dragged off the plane, now you are giving that dude to be like, that was all in your face. Like, see, look at you, look what you did. Now you're giving them satisfaction that the people that got off the plane, like, oh, see, okay, at least he got hemmed up. Like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna get off and I'm gonna smoothly walk out of this bitch too. It's like a criminal after he done did a bad crime, and then the court and the guilty ones be like, and then they be like, not guilty. And then he walk out of the courtroom and do an interview. That's exactly what it was. That was smooth. I felt like it wasn't smooth. But I'm using the wrong word. I'm thinking of him getting out of the courtroom and coming, but I'm saying it's better than getting hemmed up. He just recently came off an injury. He don't need to be doing all that shit. He need to go and get off of that shit. And honestly, we don't need to see another black dude get hemmed up. And especially because they obviously the officers knew who he was, but I'm saying if people didn't know who he was, you know what I mean? They would have just thought this is another black privilege, because then a lot of times they see wealthy black people as being privileged, that another black wealthy privileged person just basically being too uppity in a way. Because that's what I felt like the stewardess was getting from him, because he didn't want to do anything. I felt like this was Karen meets million dollar black guy. That's what this was. This is Karen, stewardess Karen meets $1 million black pro athlete. And she don't know who he is. But if this was Karen and this was Sarah, and Sarah got one child and the child will see, but she looks unresponsive. She's, hey ma'am, I see you're tired with your children. Let's make sure you put your seatbelt on. And she don't do the same thing. She's not gonna go with the law. She's not gonna go do nothing. She's not gonna go out of her way to go do those things. She's gonna be like, oh, please make sure you put your seatbelt on. And she's gonna do everything in her power to make sure that this successful young lady is able to, this lady is able to get out of this. Get on the plane. Sorry, man. I just lost my train of thoughts.
I mean, if I respect your opinion. I think that where the video starts, there's just not enough. I think it's an ambiguous situation, because I've been on enough planes to see enough stewardess run up on people regardless of how they look. And I've seen enough TikTok videos over the last year, seeing like stewardesses like go in on other Karens for being Karens on the plane. And I mean, I remember I did an episode on this on my Remarkable Report when I was in, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago when I was in Sacramento. They dragged this Asian dude off the plane, him, but they didn't deplane the plane first. They just dragged him off the plane. The plane was overbooked. They oversold the flight. And
same airlines company.
It was offering people. That was United. This is American.
American.
Yeah.
Damn
They was offering people bread to get off the plane. They was like, we're gonna offer you the bread, you give you a seat, or we're gonna start randomly picking people. And there's like randomly picking people, and you won't get the money. He got randomly picked. He said he had patience to deal with. He's like, not getting off the plane. They dragged him off the plane while it was people on the plane. So I think one thing you have like one thing. Well, that's what I find very interesting was, like, they still put hands on the Asian dude to drag him off the plane. Maybe they changed the rules since then. They put hands on him and didn't deplane the plane first. They just dragged him off the plane. But for Odell, they was like, no, we got to deplane. We got to get everybody off the plane if you want us to remove you from the plane. And then to be like, nah, y'all don't. Now I'll just walk off. To me, that feels a lot like when Adrian Bronner was in Walmart and threw change in the air. Like you're. And it's also this thing where when people got to pay big fines to the state, and they get pissed off and take like a pallet of pennies to like regular people to count them. Like, you're not pissing off your government. The government ain't counting those pennies. Those are regular people. You know what I mean? So that, to me, that's kind of like, I don't know, you're not sticking it to Karens by them. But I'll say all that to say, man, I'm not necessarily sure if, like, I can see where you feel like this could be, I'm going to say he was unfairly picked on or unfairly singled out. But sometimes the simplest thing you can do is the simplest thing that you can do. I've had them run up on me, and I've been significantly annoyed by them talking to me when I know I'm wrong. Like, what do you want? Like, oh, your table's, so you can have your table now. We're gonna take off. All right. Or my table to be down, and they'd be like, sir, we're gonna land. Can you put your table up? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna put it up. And I'll keep eating or drinking, or I'll keep writing. And like, sir, can you put your table up? Like, oh, I'm gonna put my table up. And it could be one of those things where he just didn't feel like being bothered by customer service. And sometimes you just don't want to be bothered by customer service. So I can't put my finger on who was in the wrong or on the right. I do know that sometimes the simplest thing can be made the hardest thing with the wrong person asking you in the most incorrect way. Because the reason why I'm reluctant to think this is a Karen situation is because I'm thinking the way that you're explaining it to me, it makes me feel like a police officer situation. And I feel like there's more police officer situations where it's like there's a sense of entitlement versus a civilian. When it comes to flight attendants, even though they have this power they have the power to be like, yo, I'm not safe flying with this person, they're still blue collar. They still just got a job to do. Like I used to work security at a pizza place next to a bar, and the place would turn into a bar later at night. So you need an ID to get into the pizza place. After 10 o'clock, I've had a lot of different roles. But as far as like talking jobs, probably the one other than the call centers. As far as like social jobs, like working with people, having a good time being out, this was like one of the worst like social jobs I had. Because I had to explain to people, like, have your ID? Why do I need my ID? It's a bar after 10. Oh, it's just why? Like, bro, like you have your ID. Can I just have it? Well, I don't see why. Just people are in there right now. Like, oh, and I have to deal with this shit every Friday, Saturday night. Like, dog, like you have no idea. And I've worked customer service. I understand how to ask people for certain things. However, when people are out, whether you're a millionaire, whether you're a thousandaire, whether you out on a cash advance on Saturday night, you feel a sense of entitlement because you're a customer. I'm not saying that Odell Beckham, I don't feel like putting on my seatbelt, but I'm thinking he was thinking like, why are you asking me to put on my seatbelt right now? I'm tired. I'm on the phone. And he's like, man, sir, can you just? And this may have been one of those situations where this may have been helpful. It's one of those things. People can, if you say this in the right way, people will respect you. You'll be like, yo, listen, man, I'm just trying to do my job.
Yep. Hey, if you say that shit,
sometimes not the police, because you'd be like, bro, you can do anything you want. But right. Like when you understand someone else is a blue collar, and you're like, bro, like when people are like meter maids, and they're like, fuck you, I'm just doing my job. They literally put me here to put tickets on cars, man. Like I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing my job, man. And I'm just doing my job. And I believe it's just the word I was looking for earlier was perfect storm. It's a perfect storm of, I believe, maybe someone with too much entitlement within their job that don't want to work Thanksgiving weekend, who've been dealing with shit all Thanksgiving weekend. You got a trip, right? We do these stories every year about Thanksgiving travel. Every year. And I'm speaking to someone that's like a up and coming celebrity, someone that's flown a lot, and someone that's worked in like a lot of customer service, right?
Right.
I've been in enough customer service situations to know, like, whenever I deal with customer service people, I do my best to offer as much grace as possible because they just doing their job. I've been called a hard R at work, in my face, over the phone. I've dealt with it all. Haven't been spit on, seen people get spit on, but I know a lot of people are just doing their job. In my mind, I see this lady ask for the same shit the whole Thanksgiving weekend. Shit, I mean, from November 10th all the way probably till today. Everybody flying feeling super entitled. Everyone on the flight feels super entitled, whether they're Karen, whether they're Kareem, whether they're Carisha, whether they're Karan, whether they're Spanish name that starts with a K. Can't think of one.
Katrina.
But that's an American name. Do you just mean Mexicans are named Katrina?
Katrina.
That's not a Spanish name. That's just a name. Just because you said an accent, that don't make it that name.
Katrina. Katrina. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe Karina?
Karina.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Caroline.
I think both those names is Russian. But all I'm saying is that I think that sometimes celebrities end up being like so far removed where like F those laws, man. I'm just here to fly. And the lady's like, in her mind, like, I'm just doing my job. Like this is the 90th time. Versus if she maybe knew who he was. In your mind, as a customer service person, Dale, you can see by the way people look that you got to handle them with certain gloves, right? Because when I flew on everything, when I flew first class, from Miami to SFO, it was me, my homie Phil, my homie Jamar, me and Phil in first class, right? And I'm wearing a black, just brand new black V-neck shirt and like black pants, like just looking real like sleek or whatever. And my homie Jamar walks in. He was like calling me and feel like, oh, y'all think y'all better than me? Y'all gonna fly first class? So I'll see y'all. So Jamar's in the back. Me and Phil get on first. Jamar walks up and he's like, oh man, can I get your autograph? Being hella sarcastic. Oh man, can I get your autograph? And I'm like, man, get out of here. This Dill, everything. The source was like, do you need a pen? And I was like, nah. And she's being nice. Because she don't know who I might be.
Exactly. She has no idea.
She has no idea. But she's like, okay, we got one of those.
Yeah.
Right.
So I got to be cautious of how I move.
Right. Let me save everyone's life right now. Like, let me just make sure. Because even you can even see like when you're in first class, you can see the way that people talk to you up front versus the way they get talked to in the back, or the way they move through the seats. It's a certain thing. So I just think it was a perfect storm for both of them. That's where I'm at with it. I feel like to believe that Odell isn't that much of a jerk, and I feel like to believe the stewardess woman that's been dealing with holiday travel all day. I've had flights like canceled and delayed, and that's why I booked my travel in a certain way. And I'll be in the airport just feeling bad for the flight. People like, I gotta go see my family, and y'all cancel the flights. And people like, oh man, I'm just work here. Like, nigga, we ain't got the planes. Like Spirit, I think we've been dealing with it for the last 6 weeks. Honestly, the last 6 weeks. Last week was Southwest. And then 4 weeks ago it was Spirit, and then just recently we had a nationwide one like within the last 7 days. So I felt me and the homie Ricky, shout out Rick Rock, we were coming back from Miami. With all of y'all. We come back from Miami, and all the Delta computers shut down. This is 2017. Delta computers just shut down. We was in the airport in Atlanta for 6 hours, just chilling. So I be feeling bad for those people because they got to deal with people face to face with shit they ain't got nothing to do with. I don't think there's any job that might be further removed from like the actual thing that's going on, other than like me and you work closely in phones. And one thing I could appreciate about the bank is that the bank, none of the money's real. It's not. It's intangible. It's not real. So your account's wrong. All right, we'll call some people and see if we can push a button. When someone's phone is wet and we ain't got no more phones and you ain't got no ID,
it's God's will at that point.
It's God's will. So I mean, I want to believe that it was just perfect storm for both of these people. They both tired. One of them ain't got a job. One of them got a job she don't want. And that's where I'm at with it, man.
That's real shit.
Listen, I wanna go ahead and bring something back, man. I've been lagging a little bit, and I've been slipping, bro. I've been slipping. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna establish something. We gonna do a little something, right? We're gonna establish. We used to do listener of the week. We did listener of the week. We did track of the week, song of the week, but I just want to offer like media of the week. It's what I want to give you. I want to give y'all some media of the week. And I've been offered some great media by several of our listeners, but two have specifically stuck out that I want to make sure I share with y'all. Shout out to the homie S. Walton, man.
S.
He shared these two things with me. For those of you all like me who maybe like jumped off Twitter and have like limited a lot of your media for just cleansing purposes, they got this thing. It's called 5 Things by US Today. And they just list 5 things that you should know for the day. They do it every single day. It's like 7 to 10 minutes. You could turn it on while you're brushing your teeth, while you're getting ready, while you're driving. It's just 5 things you should probably know about the day. They talk about a little bit about the government, talk a little bit about weather, talk a little bit about tech, a little bit about money. It's not very biased. They ask people what's going on. They ask people like they ask people simple questions. They interview the people. They give them the information. I think it's a good way to collect your news throughout the day. It's called 5 Things. The number 5, THINGS. That's the one. I think y'all should listen to that every day. Also, there's this. I was especially reluctant to listen to this because like 2 of my heroes were involved within an incident, and it made me judge one of them pretty harshly. However, after listening to this interview, I can see how easy it is for people to like still listen to R. Kelly, even though he was wilding, or still have love for Bill Cosby. Will Smith did an interview with All the Smoke, with Matt Barnes and Captain Jack. It's really good. Talks about the movie, talks about emancipation. I'm probably still not going to see it, but the way he talked about it, the way he talked about acting in it, the way he talked about playing the role. Doesn't talk about the incident. The show is not about the incident. It's mentioned for all of maybe 15 to 45 seconds, and Will Smith does a good job of like taking responsibility and then moving on without collecting high fives, right? Like it does a great job. And he talks about his favorite music. He talks about it's one of the best Will Smith interviews I've ever seen. Probably because it's like dudes of the culture just chilling together, having a good time. Matt Barnes and Mark Barnes and Captain Jack, they make little side comments, but they're great interviewers because it doesn't seem like to me either one of them are especially extroverted. So they just be letting people just talk. And it's a really great episode. If y'all get a chance, check out All the Smoke, Will Smith, Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson. I think that you'll thoroughly enjoy it. Those are my media picks of the week. Listen, per usual, this has went a lot longer than expected, but we love y'all so much. We felt like we had to drop. This is probably gonna, let me see. We had to drop 2 of these on you. It's probably gonna be 2 episodes on y'all ass today. It's probably gonna be 2 of them. We're gonna split up. We're gonna edit. It's gonna be 2 for y'all, man. Hopefully, y'all have been turning into the YouTube channel. About Dale Time has been throwing his craft on there, putting got the dope intro. We got the visuals. We got the links. Whatever y'all do, man. Whatever y'all do, make sure that y'all like the video. And if you do like it a couple times, subscribe. If you don't subscribe or like it, all good, share with a friend. If you don't want to do any of those things, text me and tell me why. You could text me at the comment place under the video or inside the pod. Per usual, y'all can be anywhere in the world right now, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.
Hey, man, and if you made it this far right now before you log off and get ready to start the remainder of your day or end the remainder of your day, make sure you like, subscribe, and get in that chat box, that chat group, man. Let's come on, chat community. Let's hear your thoughts, man. Let's hear your thoughts on any of these segments that we spoke about today, whether you think Bill Cosby should be back on the stage. How do you feel? Do you feel first class should allow you just to be who you want to be in first class? If you Odell Beckham Jr., or should you be harassed? And of course, is this a real storm? Are we really in storm in California? And that's for all of my listeners worldwide. Even those people who are in Fiji, I want to hear your thoughts as well. Tell us about everything. Tell us what a real storm is about and some of your worst storm stories. I want to hear it all right now. Make sure you comment, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Till next time, just know we here at the Dylan Ryan Report really fuck with you. Bye.